Hello, everybody. I am Bart Robley.
And I'm Chip Ritter.
Chip the Splitter Ritter. And you are on Drummers Education Connection. Our friends Jeremy and Rick are not with us today. It is Chip and I, and we're going to be talking about setting goals and the Drumathon debrief. And we're wearing, Chip is wearing his Fred Rock Fisher hat.
Shout out to Fred Rock. All right.
Yes,
I had to get that in there.
Had to get out.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for watching. What's happening? Bart, how are you doing, man?
You know what? I am doing fantastic. It is a great day to be alive, and it's a great day to be here on Drummers Education Connection. Folks, as usual, like I said, our friends Jeremy and Rick are not here today. Rick is down in South Florida visiting with his mom, and Jeremy and his lovely wife are taking off to go to Europe on vacation. And so they're out running around having a good time, and Chip and I are down here holding down the fort, and we wanted to do a show for you. But before we start the show, we want to talk about Drummers Education Connection. If you could do a couple things for us. First of all, I'm just going to ask you, go to our YouTube channel, go to Drummers Education Connection on YouTube. Chip is going to put a link in the videos here.
I just put a link in. It says posting, and then now it's live.
There you go. Now it's live. So if you can go there and follow and like our YouTube channel, as everybody says, that would be fantastic. We would love that.
And since we're talking about the Drumathon and goal setting and the Drumathon and Chip Ritter,
yep,
let me put a link into my YouTube channel and encourage people to subscribe to that one, please. It's going to be cool, man.
It's going to be awesome. So anyway, so if you guys could do that, that would be great. And, like and follow us on YouTube. That would be fantastic. And if you're listening to this and not watching the video, you're listening to it on the podcast down the road, please do so as well. We would really appreciate that. You can donate to us through Patreon. And you can go there, and any money that comes into us helps us keep the lights on, helps us go to website hosting and stuff like that. But we're going to get started with good things, and I know
we didn't thank Aquarian Drumheads, did we?
Well, you know what, Aquarian Drumheads, Gretsch Drums, those are our two sponsors. But I tell you what, Aquarian Drumheads has been behind us since day one, so we want to thank Chris Brady and Mike Brooker and everybody at Aquarian. They're absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely.
Now, I know what we do good things. At the very beginning of the show, we talk about good things and stuff that we got going on in our life. And today is a debrief and setting goals with Chip and Bart for the Drumathon and setting goals. I know what Chip's good thing is, and it's awesome. So I'm going to ask you, Chip, I got to hear it. What is your good thing? Let me hear it.
My good thing is during the autograph signing session for the Celebrity Drummers, I was at the table next to Greg Bissonette, and he leaned over in my ear and he said, Chip Ritter was a drummer from Tucson, Arizona. Man, he really kicked our ass. True story, man. Facts. I don't have a video of it, but he said that, man. It was hilarious, man. It was really lifted me up, and I've been telling all my friends that story, man, and having a ball today. I'm still on a green cloud or a pink cloud, whatever cloud I'm on. I'm on a cloud. What was your good thing, Bart?
Well, I got to say you deserve to be on that cloud, Chip, because I watched your video from the Drumathon, and you did slay it. I mean, you killed it. And then when you were trading fours with Bissonette, I was just like, oh my God, it was so awesome.
Oh,
it was
man,
really cool. So,
man, I'm just lucky, man.
Yeah, you knocked it out of the park. So my good thing is this. So I've been talking about this for a few weeks now. And, as usual, things are great. Going out for a show in Phoenix. Came in last minute. We're going to be playing the Sam Morrison Band is going to be playing the Arizona State Fair on Sunday. So we're heading
right on.
That's going to be fun. But my good thing is this. If you go to bartrobley.com, which I'm hoping Chip will put.
I'm going to go. I was just going to say, check out the link in the comments if you're on Facebook now.
Yep. So bartrobley.com today is the first day I'm announcing it here. I'm going to be announcing it all week. Bullseye one shots are live. You can go to my store and you can buy Bullseye one shots. They're literally one shots for people who want to do. If you're doing sampling, if you're in the studio and you don't have a good sounding snare drum, you want to replace the snare drum. If you need cymbal swells, there's all kinds of specialty stuff in there, and they're put together in packages. So I have the snare drum collection, the ultimate kit, the cymbal collection, and cymbal swells and chokes.
When you have snare drums, do you have the Bart in there?
I know, it's literally, dude, it's literally
one
sound.
You're talking about sound samples.
Yeah, they're just samples. But here's what they are. Is like I recorded some of the most iconic drum sounds that I own, right? A huge snare drum collection, huge cymbal collection on all the snare drums. It's high, medium, and low pitch. I have them dry as toast, which is just the hit. And then I've got EQ'd, and then I've got EQ'd and wet with a little bit of verb on them for producers out there. If you need a snare drum replaced in a recording session, whatever, they're all there. They're $25 each for the package, or you can buy the whole kit and caboodle, all of them, for $80. So you go there and go check that out. Right now you can do that.
BartRobley.com. So dude, hold on a second. Let's stop the prep for a second. Just a second.
Okay. Yep.
Your good thing was like 3 minutes, bro. Mine was like 30 seconds. I need more good things.
Dude,
I need to say, all right, here we go. I met the drummer from Billy Idol. I got to hang out with April Samuels. I felt the presence of a loving spirit that was around the vibe. I saw 40 women drummers, breast cancer survivors, up on the stage playing 3 drum sets at once. Awesome. And I met a young man named Jaheem. Jaheem, remember that name? He's 21 years old, and he's a phenomenal drumstick artist. He does these stick tricks and dances, and I'm going to have video of that on my YouTube channel too. But I just want to say those are my other good things. Thanks. Now I feel like the podcast has evened itself out, and I feel good about it.
Well, this whole podcast is going to be about Chip. So, so here's what I want to throw out there. I kind of wanted to start the show this way. Last week, Chip and I were in communication a lot. We both had a lot of stuff going on, and Chip was getting ready to go out and play this Drumathon, and as we all do, but especially the 4 of us, we kind of have this checks and balances thing that we do with each other, and we help each other out. That's how Deck was born. And Chip was like, man, I want to send you a video of my drum solo that I'm going to play at Drumathon. Tell me what you think of it. Critique me. Okay, no problem. So he sends me his video, and man, it was, it's Chip. It was fantastic. And for those of you who've never seen Chip play, but you've seen some of his stick tricks and stuff, man, the stick tricks are not even the icing on the cake. They're kind of like the sprinkles on top of the icing, because Chip can play the freaking drums. And I want to be really clear about that. Chip is a hell of a drummer. And he sent me this solo, and I was like, man, this is, you're going to kill it. So fast forward to the day of the show, he texts me, the show went great. I played great. The solo was awesome. And he's putting stuff on Facebook. Well, then I watched the video, and damn it, if he did not just completely knock it out of the park, buddy, you did great. You did great. I
feel good about it, man. I feel really good today about that, man.
You deserve to. You really deserve to. So the show is like setting goals, and then a debrief of the show. So let's talk about the goal part first, and then we'll get into the debrief in a minute.
Okay. All right.
Well, how did you set your goals, and how did you go about putting the solo together, Chip? What did you do? And how can young students do that?
Well, the topic around setting goals, I'd also say setting goals and making a plan, because first of all, a dream without a goal is just a wish. Mm-hmm. Without a plan, it's not going to happen. So you got to make your plans. But part 1 of setting goals for me is prioritize, organize, schedule, and execute. That stage of the process is called prioritize. So you have to have a North Star. You have to have something big and shiny that attracts you, that gets you out of bed in the morning and keeps you laid up at night. If I'm not thinking about it in the morning and passionate, if I'm not, wanting to go to bed dreaming about this goal at night, then I shouldn't be doing it in my life. Right. Really, it's not a big enough goal. You have
Right.
to have something big, dude. So I made the goal really good and shiny so I could dwell on it and really get that attraction to motivate me through the dark times when my brain goes negative and doesn't want to practice.
Right.
So
Right.
my goal I wrote down on paper. I literally wrote down, play the best drum solo I've ever played.
Awesome.
And I've played,
that's, dude, that's
over
a
the
big
years
goal.
I've played over 3,000 drum solos over my lifetime. So that's a pretty big statement for me personally.
It is. And you've played, I've looked into some of the stuff you've done. I've seen you play a million drum solos at NAMM and at NAMM Jam and everything like that. You and I have known each other for a long time, and you always knock it out of the park. I started watching some of your past drum solos, like the show that was up. There's one on YouTube. I don't know how many years ago. You would know, Drumming for Jesus drum solo.
Drummers for Jesus 2010. Yeah. The day my father died. Yeah.
That was amazing. Your father passed away on that day, right?
Yeah. He passed away the night before the solo.
Wow. And
I
so
dedicated that solo to him. Yeah. It was an emotional weekend for me.
I bet. And you still did it. So that's deep. So now
the show must go on, bro.
Yeah. So here we get into deck day, or into the Drumathon. What was your goal? Was it's going to be the best drum solo I've ever played?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a big statement. So how did you break it down? Okay, it's going to be best drum solo I ever played. That's pretty broad brushed. How did you break it down into smaller compartments?
Well, if you guys, for those at home who are listening or watching, the first step in the setting goals process for me is prioritize. So to prioritize, the first thing I did was brain dump. I wrote the goal statement on top of the paper. That's, you have to have the cojones, right, to set a goal like that. First off, you write it down on paper and you make sure it's really shiny, wave a magic wand, money's no object, let's set the goal. And then I prioritize. So I do a brain dump. Have you ever done that?
I have, but explain what a brain dump is and how you did it.
Well, I write it myself personally. I write it voice to text on the phone. It's very efficient. But then I look at that and then I get out a piece of paper and a pen, which is very important to me because when I'm writing with a piece of paper, I can actually look at those notes and I can tell how I was actually feeling when I wrote it. I just start writing everything in my mind, like what would need to be true for this goal to have happened in the past tense. Well, I would need
have happened.
Yeah, I write it as the past tense. Like I worked a lot on my double bass. I practiced my stick juggling. I worked on my funk grooves, and then I write anything that comes to mind. There's no wrong answers. I wrote down wood chips on the floor, clean the floor. That's not really a goal. That was a wrong answer, right? But I wrote that down. Just get it all out until you're done. Fill the page. I don't think
that's a wrong answer. I think that's just an observation.
I mean, as far as my goal, it's a wrong answer as far as, is that going to make me do the best drum solo? I don't know. But I just get them all out. So then the next step is organize. I organize my thought by creating sub goals, which is a form of prioritize, but it's more specific. So I'm closing in on the goal through those ideas. For example, hand speed. I want better hand speed, but what does that look like? Right? I got to define that sub goal. And I wrote, okay, I want to do singles at 200 BPM. So, okay, that's the goal. I wrote that down as a sub goal to get to my big goal. So instead of writing down hand speed, my plan is to practice. I wrote down singles at 200 BPM until I get there. And then the next stage in a process is schedule, right? I took all those ideas, organized them, like I prioritized them, organized them, then I schedule. I've organized my thought. I'm working with a purpose and a plan, and I have a plan for it, that's the important part of goal setting, is you have to have a plan. Brian Tracy, do you know Brian Tracy, Bart?
I know the name.
The name Brian Tracy, he has a video that says, learn how to set goals and it will transform your life. I'm going to put a link of that in the comments. Okay. But there's also a great book called Grit that talks about interviewing amazing athletes and people with careers that have reached goals, how
Oh,
they
I've
did
heard
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it talks about how doing the next logical thing towards that goal compounds into a skill, which compounds into the goal when it's executed.
Say that again. Say that again. I like that.
Doing the next logical thing towards the goal compounds into a skill, which compounds into a goal when executed.
Awesome.
The
That's
book is
deep.
called Grit. She's interviewed all these successful. I mean, she takes that system out from all the what's the common thread between J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon of the New Yorker, cartoon editor Bob Mankoff, and Seattle Seahawks coach Pete Carroll? What's the common thread, right? It's called grit.
Okay.
And doing the next right thing compounds itself, but you have to be doing that next right thing towards the goal, which is why you have to have that goal really clearly defined. You have to imagine what that's going to be like. You have to dwell on that goal. It's got to be shiny and, like I said, big enough and good enough and juicy enough for you to really chew on it with your brain before you go to bed. And when you wake up in the morning, it's like, bam, okay, how am I going to play the best drum solo I ever played in my life? What can I do today? Right. And I look at that.
Get to that goal.
At that. Yeah, to get near that goal. And so execute is when I put the plan in action. Since I have it on my schedule, it's written down. I know exactly on my drum book in my note. If you don't have a drum book, students who are listening to this,
Yep.
get a book, get a drum book so you can put this stuff in the same place and I'll keep it in this organized. So you have it. Because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind, right?
Yes, very true. If it is out of sight, it is out of mind. 110%. It really, really is. And you know what? Can I do something kind of self-serving here?
Sure.
Okay. So I have a KDP book that is called it's the personal daily success planner.
Yeah.
And you can buy it on Amazon, and it's $9.95, and it has a section in there for brain dumping. It has a section in there for setting goals. It has a section in there for what are you afraid of? I'm going to ask you that question in a minute. What are you afraid of? Write all these things out, and it's a great tool. You can find it on KDP. Once Chip starts talking, I'm going to grab a link for it and put it in the comments myself. But what does your drum book look like to you, Chip? What is your drum book look like to you? What is it?
I've got a section in it where I've got my personal heater, my warm-up routine. I've got specifics here. This was for the drum solo. I wrote a specific warm-up routine and playlist for my drum solo. But in my book, I have the traditional Chip Ritter's heater. I call it the heater because it warms me up. And when I'm done in 25 minutes, I'm ready to play anywhere on any drum set, or I feel confident about that. Okay. And so that's the first page. The second page starts going into my goals, right? One page is 1 page per goal. And then I have the BPMs and the date, and I write the dates out and where I reached what. And the whole book is full of my goals. It's just one goal at a page. Every page has a goal. And when I reach that goal, I cross off the top part of that goal, and then I write a new one that goes to the next stage. Okay, what would be even better than this? And it helps. I'm sorry.
Let me ask this then. Okay, and I'm going to circle back around to this. Or let's take this in a couple of bites here. So you're talking about you mentioned two things specifically: 200 BPM single strokes, and worked on my double bass. What were some of the goals
to get
to sub goals? What were some of the sub goals of the sub goal? How did you get to 200 beats per minute as single strokes? What were some of those goals? Break that down for me. Tell me about that. Talk to me about
that. I found out where I was, right? Mm-hmm. I wrote that BPM down, and then I would make the next goal 5 or 10 BPMs higher.
Okay.
And then I would practice going slow, gradually going faster. I'd put it in, I'd schedule my time. I execute it for 2 to 5 minutes, depending on what my schedule was. Okay. I set the timer, right? On your phone, you can have a timer and just set 2 minutes and hit the timer, and you start going For 2 minutes, I did an exercise where you start going faster and faster. Once it stops being clean, I bring it back down. No different than you teach when a student wants to go faster.
Right.
And then I find out what BPM I can now go at. Once I'm doing that, and that BPM's a little bit higher now because I put in the 2 minutes, even if it's a small increment, I kind of say, okay, I made a little progress at that. That's how I got to the goal.
And I'm going to geek out on you here for all the drummers out there watching. Is this done on a practice pad, on a snare drum, both? Where's this done at? What's that look like?
This is done on a snare drum.
Okay.
If I have my practice time's limited. If I have time to practice, I'm practicing on my drum set if I can get away with it.
Cool.
If I can't, it's on a practice pad. But every day for this solo, I practiced on my drum set until I actually did the solo. When I executed the solo, though, and we'll get into this, I practiced on the student drum set.
I was going to ask you about that because when you sent me, I thank you for saying that. Okay. So, and I agree with the fact that you did it on the drums. I think that's a huge thing, and not just the practice pad. I'm a firm believer in both. I work out on a pad a lot.
I'm a believer in both as well.
Yeah, but okay. Now, so, and then obviously everything you just said there, well, no, let's go to double bass for a second. Let's go to double bass. And here's why. You were very specific about, okay, I want to get to 200 beats a minute, single strokes with my hands. But when you said I want to practice double bass, well, for God's sakes, that's a broad brush.
What's the sub goal with my double bass?
Right. What's the sub goal with the double bass? What did you break?
I got my drum book with me right here.
Okay.
My sub goal with double bass was right hand and right left foot triplets. All the routines in my solo, all the components in my solo that require double bass drumming, I broke those into sections and I practiced those for 2 minutes apiece.
Cool.
So the goal, okay, if you want to know what the goal for double bass was, I wrote down comfort zone double bass.
Oh, okay.
That's what I wrote down. And what that means to me is confidence in my routine. So my goal was to get, maybe I should have been clearer. Maybe I should have been, I am confident in my double bass, right? I should have maybe written it that way, whatever.
Well,
but it still doesn't change the fact that I prioritized, I organized, I scheduled, and I executed. So when I did the double bass, I would just work on it. The other part was funk grooves. That was another goal. That's a big topic.
That's a huge topic.
What
was the funk groove? Talks about that.
The funk groove was a right, left, right, left, right, left pattern that I didn't feel I had really mastered.
Right, left, right, left, and inverted paradiddle.
Do that on the hi-hat with your right hand. No. Right, left, right, left, right, left.
Say it again. Right,
left, right, left, right, left.
Right, left, right, left.
The second time you hit your left hand, accent it.
Okay. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. I can't remember it. I got to write it down.
So if you have that accent on your left hand, second left hand.
Give me the sticking again. I'm going to write it right here.
Right, left, right, left, right, left.
Right. Okay, so it's a paradiddle and then
an accent on that second left hand.
Okay, so it's a paradiddle and an inverted paradiddle. Right, left, right, left, right, left.
All right, now put it
right, left, right.
But don't be careful. Be careful. Don't accent the other left hands. I now put a bass drum on the one.
I was getting a drum lesson in front of everybody and showing how bad I suck. Right, left, left. That's hard. That's tough. Okay.
So it ends up doing a groove like.
Yeah.
and I needed to work on that.
I need to work on that. I've never played a because it's
Okay,
a paradiddle and an inverted paradiddle. So
I do different.
Oh.
I feel bad for our listeners because they're like waiting for us to get back to the point.
All right, get to your point. Get to your point.
Bass drum on the one, Bart. Bass drum on the one.
I'll get it. I'll have it for next week.
So the point is,
I sound like my student.
Funk grooves was a sub goal of mine, and I knew what that meant. And I worked on being able to put the bass drum in different positions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just boom, 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 boom. And I worked on that for 2 to 5 minutes, you know, and I put that in my schedule. So I got to my comfort zone with that. You know what I mean? And that's how I executed the goal of the drum solo framework. That's how I did my event. So I wanted to be as comfortable with all those components of the drum solo that I could be, and then put them together and then try to execute the framework. My solo was improv, you know, but there were checkpoints. And what we're dealing with is what did I listen? I played. Okay. I'm a firm believer in recording and reviewing. Recording yourself executing something and then looking at it honestly, like 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah.
After you got over the whole feelings about it and feelings, right? You look at it honestly as a coach and say, okay, those triplets weren't clean.
Yep.
Or that funk groove did not cut through. You did not have a backbeat to that. I couldn't feel you. It didn't feel right. It was forced or whatever. I critiqued myself when I did the little run throughs. And then from there, I would get the sub goals. And I mean, from there, my sub goals, I should say, were being able to clarify and work on them and get them, hone them down, you know, to take off the rust.
Right. One of the things that
now because I hadn't played double bass and I don't teach double bass that often. Right. I mean, I do, but I hadn't been doing double bass. So it was time to get back on the saddle. You know?
Right. Well, so double bass or like this funk thing. Okay. I've got the sticking written down here on my snare and I'm going to practice this. And this is the way I'm going to break it down as a sub goal or into sub goals for me so that I can learn this, because now that I know it's a paradiddle and an inverted paradiddle, okay, how do I put those two together? And that's a sticking pattern in stick control. I can break that down. Now put it into a groove. Now make it sound like something. That's huge, because now you've taken this thing that you can't play and you've broken it into this. Okay, like here's the main sub goal.
Our friend James Harrison said steps on a ladder. Exactly. James.
Yeah, James, you nailed it. And I love that. And then the other thing that this reminds me, one time I had a drum student at one time, and I'm going to go on my elbow to get to my thumb on this one, but he was a firefighter and he played drums as a hobby. And he was the Fullerton fire chief for a while. And we were taught, and he would come in and he always played great. And I asked him kind of what we're talking about today. How do you come in and play every week at a what's your practice thing look like? And he goes, well, sometimes I practice for 30 seconds or a minute. And I go, what? And he goes, well, think about it. He goes, I look at it this way. He goes, have you ever seen a really dirty fire truck? And I'm like, no, come to think of it, I have it. And he goes, and you'll like this one, Chip. He goes, most fire trucks, when you see a fire truck, they're clean and they're shiny. He goes, they're really shiny. And he goes, what happens? He goes, we pull that fire truck into the firehouse and everybody attacks the fire truck. And he goes, like you might work on one section that's 2 feet by 2 feet, and you work on it for 3 minutes and you're cleaning it up. And then all of a sudden the alarm goes off and you got to go to another emergency. And then you come back in after that emergency, and then one guy goes to the next section. He goes, so the truck is always being cleaned and always being polished. So, you sit there. For 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, pretty soon
zenning out,
have it down.
Zenning out, just zen out, meditating. Yeah.
Think about and don't think about, okay. And that's the thing too, I think about practice time. Practice time has got to be a sacred thing. Practice time has to be a thing where what you just said, you zen out. You don't think about, well, what's Chip thinking, or what's my music teacher thinking, or what are the people that are
I
watching
agree.
the show
Practice
thinking?
time should be a very serious thing.
And it should be a thing where you allow yourself to not sound good. Because if you sound good every time you're practicing, well, you're not practicing, right? You're not learning something new, right? So I think it's important to allow those things to happen. So now let's go to this and then we'll get into the debrief. So you get all these things done, you get all your subcategories done, you've filmed yourself, you've watched yourself. One of the things that I said a second ago when I put the link in the chat for for that book is I put a section in the book, what are you afraid of today? I really wanted to ask you this question. Going into your drum solo, because you and I've talked about this before, how did you conquer the fear to get up there and do it? How did you conquer it? Because we all have it. We all have fear, butterflies, whatever we want to call it. It's there for every one of us. How did you conquer that?
That's a huge question. Give me a second here.
Okay.
I want to mention to our listeners on Facebook, our friends that are watching, I just put a link to the drum solo we're talking about during the show. I put a link to that solo. You guys can go watch that later, or now I get whatever you want to do. But the link to the drum solo is in the comments right now. Dude, fear. That's not a small topic.
It's a huge topic.
There's a chapter in my book, Stick Tricks and Showmanship, that is coming out soon that I have. And let me see where it is. I've got a whole chapter in fear. What the fear is, basically, you can't have love and fear really occupying at the same place all the way. And what I did to get through that fear was practice my butt off, prepare my routine to the point where I was so confident in it that I could consistently repeat the hard parts of my solo to a degree that I felt good about. Now, I was still afraid about dropping sticks. And you know this, I kept dropping them in practice, like over and over and over and over and over and over. And I called Jeremy and I said, I'm beating the hell out of myself because I've dropped 2 sticks. And he goes, how many did you catch? And I was like, let me look at the video. I caught 57. I dropped 1. Right. So my odds, and he said, dude, when you drop a stick, it's like Steph Curry missing a 3-pointer. Everybody just goes, oh, do it again. They're rooting. They're rooting for you, dude. They're rooting for you. And so how I got through that fear was being prepared, right? Having set that goal, having worked for it, coming full circle to where I said, okay, I'm Chip Ritter and I'm going to do this. And so I stepped up. The fact is, I never go without fear before I play. There's always fear of failure, fear of being an imposter, fear of failure. And I walked up on the stage and I kept breathing in and out. And I tried to think about positive things like, dude, I'm on the same stage that Greg Bissonette's going to be on. I'm on the same, dude, I'm in Dallas. This is it. It's showtime. It's showtime. So I got through that fear by meditating myself into my drum room. Have I ever talked about that with you?
Let's hear it.
All right, it's going to be out there. I don't know. Okay, if this is going to make a good show or not, but what I do,
dude, let me tell you something. No matter what, this is a fantastic show, and I love. Well, no, and I want to tell you something. And I'm not going to speak for the listeners, but I am going to. I think I will speak for the listeners. The fact that you're being this, I think that's what makes that great. Be vulnerable.
We're transparent.
Oh, you just told me how to play something that I can't play. I mean, dude. You're being vulnerable. This is huge.
All right. Well, I hypnotize myself through a drum room that I created that my mom gave me. My mom taught me how to hypnotize myself into a state of being where I am in control. I am safe. I am worthy of love. I am loved. and I'm Chip Ritter, and I'm going to do this.
Dude, that's awesome.
Showtime.
That's
So I
awesome.
go through 10. I walk. I see in this imaginary hallway these pictures of my past accomplishments and loved ones in my life. On step 10, there's specific pictures. I'm not going to tell you my pictures, but I got pictures of specific people in my life and moments of my life, like the time I did it on David Letterman.
Mhm.
I should post a link to David Letterman's video.
Dude, put the David Letterman video in here. But
That-
finish telling the story, and while I'm talking,
okay,
then you
so
do it. But yeah.
these good things are pictures in the hallway. And as I go 10. And then when I'm ready to go to step 9, I go to 9. And every step is closer to my drum room. That's the control center. That's the HQ. That's the locus of control for drumming as far as Chip Ritter knows. That is the drum throne. I psychologically put myself on the throne of all control of drumming for Chip Ritterdom, in the kingdom of Chip. And that's all drumming. All the drumming goes through that stool. And so by the time I'm done, I pretend that I open the door, I close it behind me, I lock it, and then I say, it's showtime. 1, 2, 3. Snap my fingers and it's on. I'm ready.
Cool.
And I walk towards that stool. It's like Mike Tyson. As I walk towards the stool, I'm terrified. I'm frightened. The closer I get to the stool, the more confident I get. When I sit down, dude, I put my sticks on the snare like this, and he says, "Are you ready, Chip?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do this." Yeah. By the time I'm there, I'm at that state. Now, I still may have fear while I open the solo up, but once I get going, dude, I get in there, the training and the rehearsal and the practice and all those hours of sweating and working on the timer and working towards my BPMs and my funk groove and all that's out the window, dude. I'm not thinking about that anymore, but it comes into play. In the physical world, it comes into play. Mentally, I forget all of it, dude. I empty out. I try to Bruce Lee it, become like water.
Yeah.
And let the training take over when I'm fighting. The practicing is like hitting the dojo, rocking on that wooden thing that Bruce Lee used to hit, the wooden thing, right? That's practice.
Yeah.
Fighting is when you're actually playing, when you're in the moment and you're not thinking.
I remember asking Bissonette one time, and I actually think this is on a video too.
Did that answer your question?
It really does. It really does. And this is where I'm going with it, since we're talking about like being in the moment. I asked Bissonette one time, I go, "What do you think about when you play a drum solo?" And again, I think this is on a video as well. He goes, "When I'm playing a drum solo, I don't think, I let go and I let God." And I love that. And he goes, all the time that is spent here in this sacred place, in the drum room, all of a sudden comes into play, and it's the muscle memory thing.
Yep.
It's letting go and letting God. Well, and I think, I know for me, mine is not nearly as deep as yours. So thank you so much for sharing that, Chip. That was really cool. I have a little thing that I do every night with SMB before I play my solo. And it's the little things. I don't even want to say it's superstitious. It's just, this is what I do to get ready for when the guys leave the stage and I'm sitting up there by myself, And it is, I think, a sacred place to be, because we all love this so much. The other day at the Sabian event that I went to, I was talking to some drummers, and that all felt the same way, and they were like, "Yeah, this is a cool thing." And the fact that you got to do this thing at the Drumathon and do all this stuff, Chip, is such a big deal, and it is so cool. And I'm very proud of you. And one of the things, you remember what I told you the other day when I called you when you were in Dallas? The first time we talked, because we played Photang. What did I say to you? Do you remember what I said to you?
In Dallas? No.
Yeah, you were in Dallas. You're at the airport, and we played phone tag. And then when we finally got to where we got connected, what did I say to you when you picked up the phone?
I'd have forgot.
I said, "You slayed the fucking dragon." And you did, man, because you worked your butt off for that.
That's right. I remember, dude. I remember laughing.
Yeah. I was like, "You did it, dude. You slayed the fucking dragon," and I would be remiss if I didn't say this right here, because again, the way that Deck was born was a way for us to help other drummers, and we kind of started helping each other. And like you, I love the fact that you called Jeremy and he very simply said to you, well, how many sticks did you catch? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I love the fact that you were
I love the
sending me.
fact that I know you guys and you're so supportive, dude.
Well, and I think that's that's the point I'm trying to make here on
Yeah,
the
well, you
show,
made
is
it. It's there.
that we really love each other, we really support each other, and we really love the drumming community, and that's what we're here for. And this segues nicely into the next section, because you just played what we're talking about, this whole solo thing and everything, and the big shiny object was a solo, and the big shiny object was you got to play with all these amazing drummers. But you played a thing called the Drumathon for Breast Cancer Can Stick It. Please tell our listeners, what is the Breast Cancer Can Stick It Drumathon? Let's hear about it.
Well, with the goal setting, to clean up the goal setting, first I'd like to say prioritize, organize, schedule, execute.
Okay.
When it comes to making the drum solo, I frame it out. I list all the cool stuff I'd like to put in it. I do the drum solo as far as setting the goal. I do the brain dump. I do the value, prioritize. I do the organize, which is the schedule, what I'm going to work on and when. And then at the end of it, I execute. So the Drumathon, which is the perfect segue for the execution of this goal. Okay. My goal was executed on Sunday at the Drumathon. Breast Cancer Can Stick It.org is a foundation for breast cancer, fighting for breast cancer research and a cure. And it was organized and founded by April Samuels, who we need to have on this show.
Yeah.
She's a triple negative breast cancer survivor and a drummer. And she has this event every year in Dallas. This was the 10th annual one that I went to, wow. Drumathon X. And she has it every year in Dallas, and people from all over the place fly in and they play drums from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. There's drumming in the park. This year they had 3 kits, bro. 3 kits all rocking at the same time. Cool. And I just had a blast. It's a great event, and we raised $60,000 to fight breast cancer.
Oh, dude, that's huge.
Yeah,
good. I think this is maybe goes without saying, but what is a triple negative? What does that mean to her? What does
I'm not very clear on it. It's a specific type of breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's hardcore. Right. And
yeah.
If you're interested in that, Bart, breastcancercanstickit.org has links to the book of April's life story.
Can you put that Can you put that in the chat, or did you?
I'm putting that in the chat now, but I want you to go to it and get her book. Her book is amazing, dude.
I will.
It's amazing.
I'll do that today. I promise I'll do that today. So, so you go and you play this event. You guys raise $60,000. That's amazing. And you, the people, do they pay to get into it? Do they? How does that work to raise the money?
They come in they do fundraisers online on their social media for about 3 months. And then they have the winners announced at the Drumathon. And during the Drumathon, people come up, then they buy merchandise. They have booths of stuff to buy, raffles to invest in. And then they have a line of people that want to play with the drummers. So like if Greg Bissonette or Chip Ritter's on stage, they line up and they pay $20 to $40, depending on the wristband, for a token. And then they walk and put the token in the bucket. Then they get called up to play 2 minutes with Greg Bissonette.
Dude, that's awesome.
All of that money goes to the cause. Hey, that's James B. Harrison, let me interrupt us real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
James B. Harrison said, Chip, do you go into a zone, self-hypnosis, when playing the live solo while trying to be improvisational? Yes. The answer is yes. I am in a zone, and it's my happy place. So the answer is yes, James. Thanks for watching us. Yeah, dude, it's a trip. The Drumathon is huge, and it was a big success, man.
So you get there, on the debrief part of it, we know what it is. Talk to us. What did the day look like? Were you the first drummer? Were you the last drummer? Talk about some of the other guys that played and other girls that played.
Well, I was in the let me see. They have a list of all the events, but at 12:30 they did the registration opens. 11:45 was the pre-show, and they had Bobby Wood playing the national anthem on his guitar. Then Jaheim Lee went first. The official start happened, and they had Phil Varone from Saigon Kick and Skid Row open up.
Oh, cool.
They did the drum solo.
Now everybody played a solo, right? Everybody just
no,
played a
not
solo.
everybody played a solo. Some people played the tracks. If they're band, if they have a famous band, they play the tracks. Like Billy Idol's drummer played Rebel Yell and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
So April Samuels went first. Lori Peters went at 1:00. Johnny Kelly from Quiet Riot went at 1:30. At 1:40, there was a photo shoot with all the celebrity drummers. At 1:50, Chip Ritter, instructor and Mel Bay author, went on stage. At 2:45, Jaheim Lee played, the kid I was talking about.
Yep.
3:35, Haley Kramer from Pop Evil from Europe played. She's going to be on the show. She is amazing, dude. And then at 4:00, some guy named Greg Bissonette played. And then at 4:30, there was a performance. At 4:45, another photo shoot. At 5:00, Jaheim Lee played again as a support. And at 5:35, the breast cancer band played. And then after the breast cancer band started playing, they had different celebrity drummers come up, and I helped close the show with the Immigrant Song.
Oh, bitchin', dude. Excellent.
Cool.
Did you play with the band or with tracks?
Play with the band, dude.
Awesome, dude.
Live with the band. And Greg Bissonette played Down Under with the band.
Did he really?
And two other drummers at the same time. It was awesome.
That's cool. So
after I got done doing my solo, there was a line of guys, and they came up and they played next to me, and we rocked out. This is what the Drumathon is all about. Drumming all day. And everybody who wanted to play got to play drums, bro.
That's cool. That's so cool.
It's one thing to sit in a concert with your hands folded watching somebody play.
Yep.
It's another thing to know that you can get up on that stage and play with the other drummers. And that was huge.
And sometimes people, you go to a concert or you go or you go to something like this and some people don't want to get up there and play for whatever reason. Just getting up there and playing and being able to do that is really cool. And I bet the vibe must have been just phenomenal.
It was like really Woodstock for drumming, man. It was awesome.
That's so cool. I watched the solo where you and Greg traded fours.
Mm-hmm.
And that was phenomenal. Was that during like a play along where you were just playing along with him, or he got up there and played? What was that about when you guys were trading fours?
I got up and played with Greg, just like anybody else could. I donated $40 for Breast Cancer Can Stick It, and I got a token, and I got called up, and I got to play with Greg Bissonette for 2 minutes.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. And dude, you knocked it out of the park. That was
thanks, man.
Yeah, you did really good.
I appreciate that, Bart.
Oh, yeah, and I think that that's what we have to remember as drummers and as a community of like-minded individuals, that we're all here to kind of, I think the whole world should be here to help each other. But as drummers, we really kind of stick together and we do this. And this thing that April is doing to raise money for breast cancer is just amazing. It's just fantastic. And so good on her for that, and good on you for doing it and going out there and playing and raising money for it, man. That is really something else. Now, at the end of the concert, I think this is a part where you're talking about where everybody got up and played. I saw some pictures of people getting up there and they're playing on the outside of the drums. Some people playing on the kit. Some people are in front. What was that? Just everybody got up there.
That was a Facebook group. Hold the phone real quick, because I got to look over here, called Beat Keepers.
Okay.
Female drummers group on Facebook.
Yeah.
Called the Beat Keepers, and they're just a bunch of like-minded women who keep time and play drums. There's a documentary film on them, and they get together and they fellowship and they play drums and they eat and they do the thing, and we got to meet all the beat keepers at the Drumathon. And shout out to all the beat keepers.
Dude, that's really cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so what is your advice to anybody that would find themselves in a situation okay, they want to play the Drumathon. They want, let's say they had a beloved one that had breast cancer, something close to their heart, and they want to do it. And next year it's coming up in Dallas. How would you get involved with that if you wanted to go play?
Well, you'd go to breastcancercanstickit.org. You'd find their social media. You get in touch with them or go to the contact page and email April.
Okay.
Email the team.
And then they set you up a time to play, and you
ask them the details about the Drumathon, because to play at the Drumathon, all you have to do is show up and support.
That's cool.
It's open to the public. Anybody that walks off the street can come up and play because it raises funds.
Okay, very cool.
Now, if you want to play, your own solo by yourself at the Drumathon, you have to be like the top fundraiser and win the fundraising prize. So, you know what I mean? That's a whole different story. But there's various levels of engagement at the Drumathon.
Okay, so let's say you want to play,
or you can be the drummer for Quiet Riot and get asked to play.
You can be the drummer for Quiet Riot and get asked, or you can be Greg Bissonette and get asked.
Shout out to Johnny Kelly. We're going to have him on the podcast too. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, you said there was a couple different people that you mentioned. We've already had Greg on. You said Johnny Kelly. Who else?
Eric Eldines.
Okay.
Yep, he's going to be on, and then Haley Kramer from Pop Evil. And April Samuels from breastcancercanstickit.org.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, what was your one big takeaway? What did you learn from this, Chip? What is your big aha moment that you learned from going and playing the Drumathon? This is your second one or your third one that you've played?
My third one.
Third one. So what did you learn from this? What is your big takeaway?
The truth, bro.
Yeah.
I learned to take my foot off my throat for dropping sticks, bro. I learned how to be like, okay, we're at a point in our life. I'm 55 years old. I can now relax because I've done the best drum solo of my life. And it's okay to drop sticks if you're trying. You know, Sean White, James, back to what James said about you have to fail to succeed.
Yep.
Failure is a process of it. And did you know they built Sean White his own half pipe to prepare for the Olympics?
No.
They've spent millions of dollars building a half pipe up in Colorado for Sean White to practice by himself. And he had a big foam pit at the end of the half pipe. Yeah. And that was for his most ridiculous, insane trick he was working on.
Yeah.
And he would go over and over and over and fail and fail and fail and fail into that foam pit on purpose just to get to where he could land it. Right?
Right.
It takes a lot of failure to get there. That's one of the reasons there's not many people that juggle sticks while they play drums in the world, if you think about it.
No, I mean, look, and I want to say this too. I mean, showmanship and drumming go hand in hand. You know, it goes clear back to Gene Krupa. Gene Krupa was an incredible showman, but he played his ass off. Buddy Rich was an incredible showman, but he played his ass off. And I mean, my favorite metal drummer of all times. I love Tommy Aldridge. Amazing.
He spins his sticks a lot.
He spins his sticks a lot. Amazing showman and an amazing drummer. But I don't know anybody that juggles their sticks other than you. You know what I mean? You really, you're the one. You're the guy that does it. And
thanks, man.
So it's very cool that.
By the way, since we mentioned stick juggling, I don't teach juggling. I don't teach stick tricks to my students. A lot of people don't know that. And I made a video specifically for stick tricks and juggling that you can get on my website right now at chipritter.com. Go check that out. If you're interested in showmanship, adding a little spice to the show, I've got to self-plug that, man. chipritter.com.
Oh, yeah.
Drummer's Guide to Juggling. it takes you from juggling tennis balls into sticks into playing beats. So if you want to do my trick, it's out there.
Have you ever juggled chainsaws and played the drums?
No, but I did juggle an apple and take a bite of it while I kept juggling.
It's awesome, man. That's so cool. That's so cool. Well, Chip, I'm really happy for you. I'm very, as a friend, as a buddy, I'm super happy for you, and I'm super proud of you, dude. I mean, you really, I the three of us on the other three of us on deck know what you went through, and you just told the world what you went through to get ready. And you really did, man. You went up to bat and you got ready and you went out there and you did it. And you're one of the big dogs, dude. And it's
thank you, Bart.
It's a pleasure to be in your presence, and it's a pleasure to call you a friend and a mentor. And you're the best. I'm going to work on my funk groove that that I play, and that's what I'm going to do this week. I want everybody that's watching the show to have a great week. To Jeremy and Rick, hope you're having a great time.
We miss you guys. Hope you have a great time, Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy, have a great time in Europe, and Rick, have a great time in Florida, and send our love to your mom.
Speaking of Jeremy Steinkohler,
yes. What about Jeremy?
I want to close the show with this for Jeremy,
okay,
and everybody listening. I've set a new goal.
What's your new goal?
A bright, shiny new goal.
Okay.
To kick ass at the Bourbon Street Bash with Mr. Boogie Woogie, the best piano player in Europe, is playing Boogie Woogie. He was literally voted the best piano player in Europe this year. And he's in Tucson on March 4th, 7th, and 8th. And I'm playing with him for the Bourbon Street Bash. It's all New Orleans music.
Oh, so like second line stuff.
I don't know. It's all New Orleans. He said New Orleans. And he's going to send me the songs, and I'm going to get the playlist. And I wrote a big shiny goal to kick ass at the Bourbon Street Bash. And that's going to take help from a ninja. I need to be a drum ninja by that time. So Jeremy's going to help me. I booked some lessons with him, and
awesome.
We're gonna achieve that goal. So my goal is to become a New Orleans ninja by March 4th.
Oh, dude, that is fantastic.
Dude, I'm excited. It's a pretty big goal, and it's nice and shiny. And you know what it does? You know what that does? When it's big enough and shiny enough, it gets you out of bed in the morning. It gets you dreaming about it at night, and it get you off of the couch.
Yep, exactly. That's what it does. And dude, you are a force to be reckoned with, Chip. You're awesome.
Thanks, Bart. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You bet, brother. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we wish the best to Jeremy and Rick. We'll see you guys back here next week. We don't know what we're going to do next week, but we're going to do something.
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be cool, and I'm going to end the show, and I'm going to try my best to click and play something.
All right, Bart. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a good one. My boyfriend and your boyfriend sitting by the fire.
Okay, I couldn't hit end and play, so I just played. Now I'll hit end. Everybody have a great week.